Hey, Cavs fans, welcome to another episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast, the podcast for die-hard Cavs fans. Corey, here with you as always, along with Alex. Alex, man, it's been a minute. How you doing?
It's been a few minutes. It always has.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy how fast time goes, and summer's over now, and then yeah, I don't know where the year's going. But the good news is we're approaching Cavs basketball. And excited to be back talking to you, talking some Cavs basketball, and lots of things to talk about today.
Yeah. A little bit of news since we last recorded.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I want to ask you before we get into that, what, like, where are you at right now as far as like, are you doing anything? Like, are you getting that itch for Cavs basketball? Are you doing anything to like supplement that? Or are you just like, like life's crazy, kids, work, whatever, and I'm just watching movies instead or something.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting the itch. I
Yeah.
can't wait for the season to start. I already got my subscription to Fubo TV going again, so I
Oh
can start
boy.
recording the games way
Yeah,
too early.
buddy.
I don't know why I did that, but yeah, I can't wait.
That's
Cannot
awesome.
wait. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. I know
Same
we're just
here.
basically running it back, but you know,
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
we
I'm with you.
will.
Same way. It feels like it's been forever since Cavs basketball. The YouTube highlight clips are no longer doing it for me. And I'm ready for some real Cavs basketball. And the good news is that's right around the corner, and we'll talk about all that.
I mean, you're even wearing the jersey, Corey.
I know. There's a story behind that, and we'll get to that too. So there's a story about why I'm wearing this jersey today on this episode. Um, but really, to kind of kick off this episode, the Cavs have made some transactions, some moves, if you will, since the last time we spoke, and really there was one big domino left to fall, right? And that was Isaac Okoro and what was going to happen with him. And to be honest with you, it was relatively quiet over the summer as far as like even hearing of other teams having interest in him. There was maybe like 1 week that I could recall somebody reporting that, oh, yeah, this team and this team, are showing interest. And that was like it for the summer. And then things got real quiet. And then kind of out of the blue, about a week and some change ago now, the Woj bomb tweet came out about Okoro signs a 3-year, $38 million deal with the Cavs. What are your thoughts on that deal? Are you happy with that?
I like it. I like it. I think it's a very team friendly deal. Coro, man, he's still young. He's still a good contributor. He's not your flashy scorer or anything like that, but he gets up and down the court. He hustles. He plays great defense. We got plenty of guys on this team that need to get their touches. So I think he fits off them very well. Um, yeah, I like it a lot. 13 million a year? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not even. It's just
Do
it's
it.
just it's just under that. It's
Yeah.
12 and some change, which in today's NBA, market, um, that's a fairly cheap contract. And like you said, he's still very young. And sure, is he ever going to develop into an offensive threat? Probably not. It doesn't look like that's really going to be his game, but he's still young enough to where he has time to develop. And he's early enough in his career to where if a year or so down the road, the Cavs are just like, you know what? Jalen Tyson's balling out. We got Karis LeVert over here doing things off the bench for us. And, if he becomes expendable at some point, the Cavs are in a good position because he has an attractive contract with how cheap it is. And again, his age, his athleticism, his defensive tenacity, like I could see teams around trade deadlines and stuff like that, showing interest if they're trying to find their 3-and-D guy or whatever, just a defensive specialist. So I'm happy with the deal as well. It didn't seem like there was anything out there trade wise or anything like that was really going to net us back anything of equal value or better. And he still fits within the age demographic of our core group, right? He's right there with them as far as age, and he'll continue to develop. and already has that chemistry with those guys he's been playing with since he came into the league.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, even last season, he improved quite a bit. I thought, he was taking more threes.
Yeah.
He's so athletic and strong, and he can slash and get to the hoop. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, we don't really need him to be an offensive weapon. We just need him to contribute a little bit while he's out there with the minutes that he has.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And last year he did have moments where I'm like, wow, he hit like 3 3-pointers this game, or whatever. He unfortunately fell off during the playoffs, but you could tell he's been putting in work, and he's been putting in work on his shot. And assuming he's doing that right now during this offseason, and again, he's just going to continue to evolve and grow. And like you said, we just need him to be out there contributing in any way. And that could mean rebounds, that could mean defense. Yeah, and every once in a while you knock down a three or throw down a slam. So I like the deal. I think it was a good decision on the Cavs to bring him back, and I love that contract number. I saw some fans saying overpaid. I'm just like, maybe they don't understand today's market or what the market's gonna be next TV deal, but that's a steal of a deal
Yeah,
to bring someone back like an Isaac Okoro.
yeah, I agree totally. Especially when you see some of the other contracts these other, you know, towards the end of the bench players are signing. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, yeah, totally,
And
totally.
also, you know what? This breaking this news was the very last Woj bomb.
Yeah, what do you, I was going to ask you about that. Isn't that kind of crazy that he tweets that out, and then what was it? I don't think it was that day. It might not be until the next day. He announces he's retiring from the game of um, reporting on this stuff. And what is he going to be doing now? Do you remember?
I,
Is he be doing something with his like alma mater or his?
yeah, I thought he was going to be was he a coach? Is he a coach or in the
Uh,
front office? I
I don't
can't
know.
remember.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
something,
weird.
some college ball. I don't know how he turned it into a coaching gig, but pretty
Just
interesting.
kind of crazy though that the last Woj bomb is related to the Cleveland Cavaliers and Isaac Okoro of all people. That's just kind of nuts. But hey, man, Shams is a happy guy right now because he just moved up to number one,
Yeah,
and we'll see who else rises from the ranks. Windy,
he's got the market cornered. I also
right?
heard they were talking about on NBA radio that they think that Woj will be back next year. Like this is Woj taking a year off before the huge TV deal comes back, and
Maybe
they'll have all kinds of suitors, wanting to get Woj on their network, and they think he's going to sign some
just throw
sort of
him ridiculous
enormous,
money.
yeah,
Yeah,
ridiculous money next year,
never know. Could
which
be.
is a good strategy, and yeah, that
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me at all.
fans wouldn't hate it either to have Woj back. So it's gonna be kind of weird without him, but crazy that Okuro is connected to that history if that does remain. But besides Okuro, another recent move or a couple transactions that have been made as well is your main man is coming back. Alex, your main man, TT, double
T
T.
tops, yeah,
T Top is coming back. He's signed for another year. He even waived his no trade clause, whatever that does. But he is back for another year. And from what I recall from that, because that was a couple weeks ago now, the Cavs like his veteran leadership. We got a lot of young guys on this squad, right? And TT brings that veteran presence. He brings that just toughness. And sure, he had the performance issue thing, the drugs or whatever, and that knocked him out for a while. But we both said he not only met but he beat expectations that we had, at least as Cavs fans, for his return last year. So you don't want to throw him out there for 30 minutes a night, but 10, 15 minutes a night or as needed as an injury, TT could still play. He could step in and fill a role as needed. So I don't hate that signing and bringing him back as well.
yeah. I like TT. He was playing really well beginning of last season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
While he was juicing, but if he gets back to playing that well again, yeah, I mean, it's
It
what we
was just
need.
wild. It was just wild seeing him in a Cavs jersey again and him still looking like a 25-year-old kid, to
Yeah,
be honest with you, because he just doesn't age. But the
he gave us
Cavs,
solid minutes. He gave us
yeah,
solid
yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
Yeah,
he did. He did. So the Cavs bring back TT. Some other moves that I remember happening are some two-way contracts. Luke Travers got a two-way contract. So he'll probably spend a lot of time on the charge, right? But you never know. At some point, maybe he gets an opportunity, and I know there's certain Cavs fans that will appreciate that. And then JT Thor, I believe is his name, is another guy that got a two-way contract. I don't know a lot about him, to be honest with you, but the Cavs basically, have seemingly finished making all their transactions that they're going to make. They threw out their two-way contracts. They bring back TT. They re-sign, Okoro to a 3-year deal. And it feels like they're probably most likely done at this point. And before all that, obviously, was the big transactions earlier in the summer with Mitchell extending, Mobley extending, and the Cavs drafting Tyson, number 20 in the first round pick. That's about the extent of the Cavs offseason. They committed a lot of money this offseason.
And the new
But
coach.
and a new coach, right? But really no new bodies outside of the draft pick. And we've talked about this off and on all summer, but kind of reflecting now at this point, a month away from the season, realizing the Cavs really went all in on basically running it back. The only guy that's not coming back is Marcus Morris, believe it or not, who signed with New York, I saw.
Yeah, disappointing.
Yeah,
I
kind
hate
of.
for him to be,
I know. Of all,
on
it's
the
like,
Cavs playoff team and then go to New York, who
and then go to New
is
York,
going
and
to be like a serious rival
he's
towards the
gonna
end of the
light
season.
us up at least a game or so. But yeah, man, the Cavs really went all in with running it back. And I guess if you had to look and reflect back on the last couple months and look at all the transactions they made, which they were pretty aggressive. They committed a lot of money. What grade would you give the Cavs for this offseason with the moves they've made? If you had to
Ooh,
grade it.
a grade. I
Sure.
mean, that's pretty tough because they didn't do a whole lot, right, other than run it back.
Committed a lot of money though. Guys are locked up for a while now, right?
I guess it depends what you're grading on. Like, how much did they improve? Like, they ran it back, so
Right.
you can't really say they made any moves to improve. I don't know that there was a whole lot out there, a whole lot of potential for them to improve. I think the coaching change, I really hope, will get us over the top. But I'd probably give them maybe a C plus.
Ooh, Alex, you're always Mr. Positive, I feel.
You think
You
a C
very
plus is
rarely.
positive?
No, I'm
Oh, okay.
shocked at your rating. I thought you were giving an A or an A minus. I was like,
I
there's
mean,
no way he's
if
going
you're
below an
asking me to
A.
grade the team as it's constructed, I think I would give it like a B plus, A minus. But
Mm.
if we're talking about just off season,
Just
grading their
off-season
off season
moves,
moves, yeah, like
right?
C plus. Like they
Wow.
really didn't do anything to move the needle, right? They
In the
got a new
4 years
coach.
we've been doing this podcast, I think it's been 4 years now, maybe longer now. I think that's the most negative comment or grade you've ever given. I mean, you beat up on Yang, I guess. That's
Oh
always a
yeah,
given.
Yang.
He's still here too, Alex. Don't worry.
Maybe it's this beer bringing me down.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I was gonna give him like a B minus or maybe a B at most. Again, I applaud the fact that they basically have committed a boatload of money between Mitchell and Mobley. They're obviously banking on that duo along with some other core pieces moving forward. And they were kind of in a unique scenario where they could have wrote another year with JB if they really wanted to. We talked about that. His record from where he started with this team to where he got them to, you know, he was on an upward trend year over year. But at the same time, the Cavs, they didn't fall victims to that, and let's just run it back another year with the same coaching staff and all that. And that's we're gonna see, right? But that's a pretty big change in itself. I know it's not players, it's not that sexy, off-season moves that any fan base wants. When you see other teams trading for Paul George and Mikal Bridges and all this stuff, and okay, the Cavs change head coaches, big deal. But we'll see if that actually pays dividends, because as those other teams now have to figure out a way to incorporate those new stars, We don't have that problem here. We just need our stars to be healthy and actually, stay consistent throughout the year so that this coach doesn't have the same problem as the last coach where it's basically a different starting lineup every week. And hopefully that's what will pay dividends. But I'm giving them a solid B for right now, just for the sake of, again, the money they committed. I wish they would have added a new body or two. So I'm kind of thinking of that fan base that wants that too. But I'm not overly cautious. I'm not overly beating them up, and I'm going to give them kind of a middle of the road grade, and we'll kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they drafted well, I think. I'm looking forward to seeing the rookie out there.
Yeah, definitely. I like what we saw in summer league, and we'll see what he does in the preseason, which is a notch up as far as competition.
Mm.
Speaking of preseason, Alex, another thing that happened since we've been away is the 2024-2025 NBA schedule came out. The Cavs schedule came out, and we now know when Cavs basketball will officially start. The regular season is just under a month away. October 23rd, they will be going out to Toronto to play the opening game of the season. I'm going to be all over that with it being Toronto. But preseason, Alex, kicks off here right around the corner, October 8th against the Chicago Bulls.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And 4 games for preseason. They got the Bulls, the Pacers, the Pistons, and the Bulls again. And then they open up against the Raptors, the Pistons, the Wizards, and then the Knicks. The Knicks are game 4. So we'll see Marcus Morris and that new look Knicks pretty early in the season. And after that is LeBron with the Lakers and the Magic and the Bucks back to back. So, the Cavs are going to have to be ready nice and early. They got some easy ones to start off the season with Detroit and Washington in there. But then they got some formidable teams right out the gate. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Cavs come out this year.
Yeah, I mean, I expect to see the young guys get a lot of minutes early to see who's going to kind of make the team, right? I even expect to see a bit of Travers. I'm sure he'll play in some preseason. We'll get to see Tyson.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that
Yeah.
because you're probably going to see some players that you might not typically see during the regular season, right? At least not in the beginning. Travers isn't going to get an opportunity unless it's a Craig Porter situation like last year where there's 2 or 3 injuries that happen in his range of position he can play, right? He's gonna not even be called up unless that scenario happens. Tyson will be interesting because since you brought back Okoro and you have Levert and you have Mitchell and Garland, you kind of have he has a lot of competition for minutes there. It'll be interesting to see if Atkinson gives him an opportunity early in the season or not, or kind of just relies on his core 4 and his Max Struces of the world and Leverts and so on and so forth. Maybe he doesn't get an opportunity until a little bit further into the season. But yeah, it's always fun, interesting to see what is that lineup going to look like. Is there going to be any shakeups? Any roster changes as far as kind of who's that first player off the bench and all that. And the preseason, offers a little bit of a glimpse of what the coaches may be thinking, and it's always fun to just see some Cavs basketball again. So you already said I was going to ask you, but you kind of already called it out. I was going to ask you, what was your plan? How do you plan on watching the Cavs this year? So you already bit the bullet. Your Fubo, your $90 a month or whatever that is, and you're
Yep.
you're all over
Yep.
it.
Committed.
Wow,
Yep. Well, it's
man.
not just it's like I get it like 90% for watching the Cavs, right? But I still
Sure.
like I'll record some hockey games and
Hmm.
some other things. It's not just all Cavs. If I do see, I know Bally Sports has their own. I don't know if it's app or subscription service. I
Yeah,
should probably check it out just to see what
I'm
that offer is,
I'm
but I don't know
debating
what
it.
it is offhand.
I'm debating it. It's $20 a month or 189 a year. You get access to the Cavs and I believe the Columbus hockey team. No Guardians baseball is on there. So I've been debating that, and my head's like, yeah, you should check it out because it's $20 a month. I don't want to pay Fubo prices, My heart is telling me though it's Bally Sports, and we don't like Bally Sports, and I always hear negative things about them and their service. But I'm getting tired, Alex, of watching it. The ways that we've watched it in the past, and the unreliability of all that, and all the porn ads and all that garbage. So
Hmm.
I want a legit way, and we'll see. I might check that out. The other thing I was thinking about too was League Pass, and maybe doing some VPN trickery. They have, for a single team for an entire season, it's $89.99, so $90 for the season basically, to watch games from whatever team you pick. And but obviously that's blacked out here locally, so a way around that could be using VPNs potentially. A little shisty, but still more legit than those free sites that throw a bunch of ads at you and aren't always reliable. But I'm determined to find a way, um, and we'll see. So
Do you know if the Bally Sports app lets you, like, if you miss the game, watch it later, or is it only live stream?
I don't know. I need to look into that. I
Mm.
believe there's cloud recording. I believe there is, but I need to look. I need to research a little more on their website. I could have
There was
swore
an
I saw a cloud DVR recording or something like that, but I don't know if it was unlimited. I don't know if there was, any kind of restrictions around that, or whatever.
Yeah, there
Um,
was an article on Cleveland.com about the Cavs and Guardians moving to Amazon Prime as part of a new deal. It would still
yes,
be $20 a month.
I don't know, because that doesn't happen until after this season. This is the last season of the current deal and all that, and then that moves over to Prime. So I'm very interested about that because I'm a Prime user. My fear is, one, realistically, that's probably going to be an additional fee, right? But two, if the same blackout rules apply today, it doesn't really do me anything, right? So I'm hoping that there's a way to watch it legit through Prime. Even if it costs a little bit extra, I'm willing to pay. But that's not till another year, unfortunately. And that's when like TNT loses the rights and all that drama around that. And Charles Barkley's retiring after this year because of
Hmm.
it, and no longer that show and all that stuff. So it's gonna be interesting. I saw something that said they would have nationally televised games every day of the week, but it would be on different networks or something like that. It was weird. Um, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's another nice thing about having Fubo is I can just, if I've got some downtime, I can turn the TV on, go into Fubo. There's a
Yep.
whole sports category. You click on it, it shows you every live sports game that's on right then. And I just go look and see what NBA game is on, and I might flip it on and watch it for 10, 15 minutes just to see who's playing.
Yeah. The benefit of that is it's reliable, right? It's whenever I used it when I had my family members logins and stuff, I never had a problem with it. It's
Yeah.
just it's costly. It's not
And
cheap.
you just pick a team. You just pick the Cavs, and it automatically records every single Cavs game.
Yeah.
Go back, watch it whenever you want.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Pricey. It's pricey. It's expensive, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to beat.
Got to find a way to watch them Cavs, man.
Yeah, I mean, you got to watch the games.
So, I asked a question a little bit ago, how you've been getting your calves itch. And one thing I wanted to talk about, one thing I've been doing is NBA 2K25 recently came out a couple weeks ago. And I'm usually not a guy, Alex. We talked about this. We're both gamers and stuff like that. I'm typically not a guy to pay $70 for a game. I'm the guy that's going to go buy $5 to $10 games for $70 and be good, for a
Corey,
while.
it's $70 for a roster upgrade, and the Cavs are just running it back. What are you doing, man?
I know, but here's the thing, Alex. For the first time and for as long as I can remember, I skipped out on last year's 2K. I didn't buy 2K24. So for me, jumping from 23 to 25, that'll be a big jump from roster and all that stuff. And I've been having fun with it so far. I played a couple games with the current roster. Donovan Mitchell is a blast to play with. He has a 92 overall rating in it. Mobley is real fun to play with, so on and so forth. But the other thing I really enjoy doing in the game, and I've talked about this before in the past, is the My NBA Eras mode that they've incorporated since 2K23. And that's really the reason why I didn't buy 24, because I was enjoying the My NBA Eras so much that I felt like I don't need 24. How much you pay for that, Alex? Alex is
Oh,
flashing
I didn't.
2K24 on the
Yeah,
PS5.
I didn't. I got it like late in the season when it's like
Cheap, 20
maybe
bucks or
20
something.
bucks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. But I couldn't resist this year. And but I don't regret it, because I've been playing it a lot, and I've been using the Kobe era, which is 2002, and the LeBron era, which is 2010, and I've been using the Cavs teams. And you might be thinking, well, wait a second, 2002, that's before LeBron. 2010 is after LeBron left us. Those Cavs teams were shit. Why would you want to play with them? Because I'm the type of guy that likes to play with those shit teams and see how good I can make them. You know what I mean? The 2002 roster had Ricky Davis, Darius Miles, Smush Parker, the headband gang, man. They all had headbands on. Big Z's there. And I've been having a blast playing with them. It's hard as hell to win games because the Cavs aren't very good. That 2002 roster. Bimbo Coles. Remember Bimbo? He's on there. Just some real funny throwback names on that roster. And unfortunately, Dewan Wagner's not there. He must not, 2K must not have the rights to him.
Hmm.
But I've been having fun playing that. And then with the 2010 roster, that's after LeBron leaves to go to Miami. So you're left with Mo Williams, Antoine Jameson, Anderson Varejao, Anthony Parker, and guys like that. And that's been fun too, because there's no real standout superstar on that team. And it's just, I could kind of use everybody. You know what I mean? And I just been having a lot of fun playing 2K25 with both the current roster and with those 2010 and 2002 rosters. And I'm looking forward to seeing where I can take those teams. And
So what are you doing? Are you just going into exhibition mode and
no, no,
picking
no.
some
So
throwback Cavs team or what?
no. So the 2K era is like franchise mode, but you pick a starting point, and they have like 5 eras
Oh,
right now.
okay.
Um, I did the Magic and Bird era in which is 83, 84 in 2K23. And I was playing that still all the way up until this year. And I was only at like the year 2000. Because it just takes forever if you don't just straight simulate everything. But basically, you're saying I'm going to start the Kobe era in 2002. So you have the Cavs roster from that point in time for the players they have licenses for. They were missing a couple players, unfortunately. And then moving forward, you could draft whoever you draft. You could make trades. You can make free agent signings. I signed Earl Boykins because the 2002 Cavs roster has the worst trio of point guards. They had Milt Pelagio, Smush Parker, and Bimbo Coles, and I can't do jack with any of them. Earl Boykins is sitting there as a free agent, so I went ahead and picked him up, and I got Earl Boykins running the point guard now. So, but moving forward, you basically determine what that roster looks like, and it's fun. It's fun. I enjoy it a lot. I won't be able to draft LeBron, I don't think, but we'll see. And the 2010 era, Kyrie is a rookie that year. So I'll see if I could draft Kyrie, or maybe I change history and draft somebody else. But
Get Dion Waiters.
yeah, got to get waiters.
I
Got to get waiters.
might ask you this before, but does it have the players that historically they haven't had licensing for, like
No Reggie Miller, no Charles Barkley.
Shaq, Barkley? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Shaq's in there, but no Barkley, no Reggie Miller.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It is, but that's because those players don't want to be in the, they don't give their approval for that stuff.
That's crazy. Is
Dewan Wagner,
Kemp
he's
in
not in
there?
there. Harold Miner's not in the game. I was real excited to get Harold Miner on the Cavs.
But Sean Kemp.
Um, Sean Kemp's in there. Sean Kemp's in there. And I always try to grab him whenever I can. I'm trying to think of who another Cavs player that's not in the game I was disappointed about. Trajan Langdon's not in the game. I know, like, who people are like, who's that? That's the type of players I enjoy like
Only you
playing with,
look
though.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, man, I want to play with the what was he like? What was he called? Like the Alaskan assassin or something like
Yeah.
that. He was a sharpshooter and all that
What about
stuff.
the Ukraine train?
Ukraine train. You know what? I'll have to see if he's in there. Vitaly Potapico.
Yeah.
Alonzo G's not in the game. That's the one that hurts me the
Uh,
most. Alonzo G. I was looking forward to playing with him with that 2010 roster, but
That's so odd. I wonder why. Like, if
these
you're Alonzo
players
G,
just,
you're like, I'm not gonna sign to be in a
yeah,
video game. Like, what?
I,
Why not?
I don't know. I don't get it either. But that's what mods are for, and people. There's people that create rosters to fill the gaps and so on and so forth. So maybe at some point somebody creates them. But yeah, man, 2K25. It's. I liked it. I've liked this so much, and I've enjoyed my time with it. And Alex, when it goes on sale or whatever, I would suggest getting it. It always hits PlayStation Plus at some point late in the year too. That's usually when you grab those games, but it's a good time.
Yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I'm a sucker
Yeah,
at that $20 price point, though.
yeah, I hear you. Usually, I am too.
I
I
might have
am
got
too.
this one for like 15. I remember it was just like so stupid cheap that I couldn't pass it up.
The digital version of 24 got down to like 6.99 a couple like 2 weeks before 25 dropped, and I'm just like, should I just do it? Because I remember you're like, just buy it for the Switch and you have it like when you're traveling or whatever. And
Yeah,
I still didn't do it because I'm just like, I don't feel like downloading that and that just eating up all my space. But
yeah, I have one of them on my Switch. Maybe 2K23. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
worth to have just one of them.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. Agreed. So, Alex, the last thing that I had, at least for this, as we're no longer talking current Cavs basketball, today is September 25th as we were recording this episode. And today is, I will say, a big day in Cavs history because the Cavs made probably one of the biggest trades in Cavs franchise history. And I am rocking a jersey for that very reason. I don't have very many jerseys. I don't wear them very often. I've talked about that before. But Alex, before I kind of call out what that is, um, any idea? It was 27 years ago. That's the only hint I'll give you. 27 years ago today, September 25th, 1997.
Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp. This was the Sean Kemp trade. And I still remember this trade so vividly. You know, this is when, I'm a 13-year-old kid, still got all my Cavs news in the newspaper, right? Every day I go check the standings, check the little article on the Cavs, a little write up. And that morning, or the next morning, I should say, I open up the paper and I see it. And I'm like, holy crap. you know? Um, and this trade just sticks out to me so much because the Cavs traded up until that point my favorite Cavs player of all time, which was Terrell Brandon. So I was torn because,
That's
oh
I
man,
I thought when I saw you wearing the jersey, I thought, oh, it's a Terrell Brandon jersey.
it's
And that's what your
Terrell.
trivia was gonna be about. I was all like, Terrell Brandon. But
I only owe two jerseys, and it's two of the greatest, one of the two greatest point guards that played for the Cavs, Matthew Dellavedova and Terrell Brandon. That's how I roll, Alex. All right.
yeah.
But man, Terrell Brandon was my favorite player at that time at the Cavs, and love Sean Kemp, obviously, right? Freaking the Rain Man, and just so athletic. And I was so excited to get Sean Kemp. It's so sad that we had to let go of Terrell. Imagine that duo paired up together. Like Terrell and Sean Kemp would have been a heck of a duo. But that was a big deal, and that was a big trade because it also included Vin Baker. Vin Baker got traded from Seattle to Milwaukee. Sean Kemp comes to Cleveland, and Cleveland sends out Terrell Brandon and Tyrone Hill back to what was it, Milwaukee. And I think there was a draft pick in there as well. So it was a blockbuster trade for that time frame. And we talked about the Sean Kemp, stint here multiple times. I remember better than others. I thought he played pretty well for about the first 2 years, and then after that, things kind of fell apart. But man, it's still just I just remember it so vividly, and just like I still like, man, we had Sean Kemp at some point, and we had him after his career goes downhill. Like, oh man, what a missed opportunity because I checked before we started recording. He was only 27 when he came here, Alex. He had
Man.
plenty of basketball left. Do you remember that? Do you remember that time frame at
Oh
all?
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. I was,
Yeah.
I just, my mind just started wandering because I see you wearing the Cavs #1 Terrell Brandon jersey there, and I was like, Max Strus wears #1. Who else wore #1? Booby Gibson wore
Ruby
#1.
Gibson.
That's
Yep.
where I was
Yep. Yep.
daydreaming.
And what's kind of crazy about that trade too is there was 3 star players in that trade. You had Vin Baker, Terrell Brandon, and Sean Kemp. And if I'm being honest, sadly, the Cavs probably lost that trade, to be honest with you, because out of those 3 players, Sean Kemp probably had the worst remaining NBA career, right? Because he plays 2 years and some change for Cleveland. 1 year they get to the playoffs. One of the years he has the best career numbers of his career, but then he goes to Orlando, starts to put on the weight. He bounces to Portland, and before you know it, he's out of the league, right? To where Terrell Brandon was a stud in Milwaukee for years to come before his injuries took over. And Vin Baker, had a long, fruitful career after that. He wasn't out of the league, within 5 years or something like that. So it's just unfortunate and kind of crazy. Like the Cavs took that big gamble at that time, and unfortunately it didn't pay off because Sean Kemp didn't have a 5+ year here and multiple All-Star and playoff appearances. His career basically ended after Cleveland, which is crazy to think about. So I just wanted to bring that up because 27 years ago, man, that's a long time ago now, brother.
Yeah, it is a long time.
That's a long
Yeah,
time ago.
that was a fun era though.
That was. That
I used to
was.
listen to all the games on the radio in my bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And that's
cool.
when Brevin Knight and Derek
Yeah,
Anderson, Cedric Henderson, Wesley
Ilgauskas,
Person,
Big Z.
Agauskas.
Yeah,
That was the young squad, a lot of rookies and stuff. Yeah, that was a probably one of my most fun. That's probably my most fun era pre LeBron. I would say is that era. So yeah, man, good stuff. So
yeah.
anything else from your end that you want to talk about or bring up that you could think of?
Some other Cavs players that were #1.
Who else?
Dante Exum, Derrick Rose.
Really? I just
Right?
saw I
I think
just
so.
saw that Derrick Rose got waived by the Grizzlies, and
Man.
man, I hope. I don't know, man. He's another one. He's like Sean Kemp. It's like, wow, at some point, somebody you're gonna be thinking about this 10 years from now. At some point, the Cavs had Derrick Rose. At some point, the Cavs had Dwayne Wade. At some point, the Cavs had Sean Kemp. But you know what the problem was? It was all after their primes. But Derrick Rose is the one that bothers me the most because he actually had good years after the Cavs. He just had a
Yeah.
horrible year while he was here, right? And he's still in the league. And when I saw he got waived, I'm just like, oh man, it's kind of gonna be sad to see if like this is it for him. Like, will he get picked up by somebody else? I hope he does. I hope his career's not over yet. But that's funny that Derrick Rose #1 as well. Anybody else on your
Nah,
list?
not that I can think of. That's all I can think of.
Nice,
I
nice.
was trying to Google for a list, but I couldn't really find one.
Ah, cool. Well, I think Alex, we babbled long enough. Let's go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll podcast. Want to thank you, Cavs fans, as always, for tuning in and listening. And Alex, you want to let them know where they can go ahead and follow us and connect with us.
Follow us on Twitter at Cavs Pick and Roll. Shoot us an email, cavspickandroll@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. Watch this episode on YouTube. Wherever you're listening, click like, subscribe, leave us a rating or review. We'd appreciate it.
All right, Cavs fans, there it is. We will talk to you again soon.
Peace out, Cavs fans.